What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old dangerous humor, man.
Dangerous humor, man.
Humor, yeah.
What are you feeling dangerous today, man?
No, I mean, we entertain dangerous ideas on this podcast. And, none also encapsulated by all the big discussions from the last podcast as well, right? I think there's been a very lively Reddit thread going on about what we discussed on last podcast. And, that's what it's about. You entertain those ideas, let it percolate, chew in your mouth, don't spit it and don't spit it on the floor because you get caned for that. But, you let those ideas sit and feel uncomfortable with them, and then you come back and talk about it and argue. No, not argue. Sorry, not argue. You come back and discuss it.
I thought you said argue. I was like, wow, Terrence, quite a big turn from the last podcast.
No. Don't mischaracterize what I say. There's a lot of events from the last podcast we mischaracterize what I say, which we can address later.
We will talk about later.
Yes, we'll talk about later. Yes, that's why we talk about dangerous ideas. But yes, wow, this weather is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I fucking love it, man. I don't understand how this is happening, because I think yesterday there was a record set for the rainfall in a day in Kallang. And it just blows my mind. Like I don't understand how there can be that much rain. I love it.
Do you do a rain dance or anything special?
No, I went for my uncle walk this morning, and then it started raining. No, okay. It was drizzling a bit, but it started raining halfway, and I love that shit. Like, I love just like running in the rain. And it's not the kind of heavy thunderstorm kind of rain. It's like the pitter-patter on your face. The little pitter-patter. I love the pitter-patter on my face.
How about all the students and old people who need to get to work or what? Then you're like,
I'm just being selfish. I'm just thinking from my perspective. I love it. If I had a kid or I don't know about a pet, but yeah, I love it in this current moment. My wife hates it, but I love it. I absolutely love it.
I think for women or girls and all that, it's a very troublesome thing, right?
Why? Because of the hair?
Hair. If you're, a woman who wears makeup, makeup. I remember last time in school, my classmates would really complain about, female classmates would complain a lot about rain because it would soak their clothes. And, for ladies, when their clothes are soaked, it's not a good look, right? And they get made fun of and all that. So it's just, Harish, you very selfish.
Yeah, I don't care about all that. Yeah, I'm just thinking from my perspective, I fucking love it. Okay, and I'm going to carry on saying I love it. Yeah, even if you don't, I'm sorry, I love it. Because I know it's not going to last. I know by next week, it'll be hot again. This is just like a little window of melancholy. Because it does.
We've never had this. We've never had something like that so consistently long. For a while, right?
Yeah, and then it went away. And then it came back.
Yeah.
It went away and came back. Oh.
Yeah. It reminds me of that, that crazy time when we had like the haze was insane and the sky was purple and it was just like, wow, it's like once in don't know how many years event. Yeah.
Otherworldly.
This has that feel to it that's very, very, I think people have been saying a very Silent Hill feel around Singapore.
Yeah. There was a picture also of MBS, the infinity pool, just being in clouds. Right. Yeah. It feels so weird, but this just also makes me a little apprehensive for what's coming in June or July. I was going to say Singapore summer, no? I was going to say summer. Now we actually have seasons. Wow, yes. Unbelievable.
I have to like literally dress my kids in like long sleeves and everything.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
exactly. But I mean, in parallel with the ongoing weather, there's also the ongoing Committee of Supply debates, which we will get into. But before that, what is the thing we're going to plug, Terrence?
I think we're going to give a big shout out and direct people to check out our good old Ministry of Funny Instagram page, because I think Tristan, our man Tristan behind the scenes, he's been hard at work getting snippets of our own Ministry of Funny videos and putting them on Instagram and TikTok for new generations of people to enjoy, to see how the OGs, us YouTube OGs, did it back in the day. are pretty epic. I mean, I would still say they were pretty epic, like pretty epic pranks.
Humble,
and I'm not just saying this just so you watch it, because no, but literally, I haven't seen some of these videos in like years myself, right?
Yeah.
And when I watched some of them, I was like, I actually found myself, getting high on my own supply, chuckling at some of the old stuff that we did, just because it was surprising that we actually did that. Yeah. I don't know about you. Do you feel that way when you see your old things?
Yeah. Like, I mean, running on the streets in boxers and like just dressing up as an old person to get slammed on the ground. Oh, the good old times.
And it's probably the kind of thing that now, I don't know if you do that and then you get cancelled or whatever already, right?
No, in fact, now I think you do that now. It's not even that shocking anymore. Like last year, we had that guy go into the rhino exhibit and do 2 somersaults.
Oh yeah.
So now if I swim in the Takashimaya fountain, who the fuck will care?
Yeah, and then there was a kid who recorded himself stopping the doors on MRT train just a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe we kick-started this whole thing.
The public idiocracies.
Public idiocracy, TikTok idiocracy. Yeah.
Wait, is idiocracy the correct word?
I think so. Yeah, I've seen the word idiocracy.
Idiocracy. Okay, cool. But just show some love to all the stuff that Tristan's doing on on the Ministry of Funny, Instagram and TikTok.
As much as it sounds, if you think that maybe we don't update that anymore. Actually, we've been very active. Yeah, man. Posting a lot. Yeah,
exactly. Cool. Oh wait, no.
Yes.
Actually, idiocracy. Sorry, just to clarify, idiocracy means a society or group that is controlled by or consists of people of low intelligence. So it's like a technocracy or a bureaucracy, but just with idiots, lah.
Yeah.
So that's not what I was getting at just now.
Oh, what were you getting at?
I was like being an idiot in public.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the state, like the state of everyone, like participating and being an idiot together.
Oh, no. I was just saying me.
Oh, okay.
It's the idiocracy of one.
Okay.
No, 2 or 3, you also are part of that idiocracy. So technically, it is an idiocracy, yeah.
It is.
Public idiocracy.
And everyone who watched that, you were part of the idiocracy as well. We watched it back in the day. You're one of those OGs. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The OG idiocracies. Sweet. Yes. Okay, cool. So, shall we jump into it?
Please.
Okay. So there's this. So the committee of supply debates are ongoing. Just a side note, how long will this go on for? Or is it just to get through all the points? Because it's happening every day? Today is the 3rd March. So it was, or is that the day 1 or day 2? Yeah. Do you know?
I think they sit, Parliament sits once a month, right? So this is probably this week now, right?
But this is different from Parliament. It's the Committee of Supply Debates. I think this is the day 1 of Committee of Supply Debates.
I suppose it's just this week. I'd be surprised if it goes beyond. But I guess that's something we can verify now, right? By either intense Googling or someone informing us or something.
Yeah. So there's a Parliament sitting today as well. There was on 1st March, on 2nd March. So yeah, okay. But one of the things that came up was there was a question posed by a PAP MP. It was a parliamentary question by the Member of Parliament Zulkarnain Abdul Rahim for Choa Chu Kang GRC, who brought up this question on whether an e-book published by last year by longtime Yolabat friend Sudhir Thomas Vadaket about the Oxley Road saga, whether it accurately represents the circumstances surrounding the signing of the former late Prime Minister's will. So, Lee Kuan Yew. So, Teo Chee Hean went on to clarify, and I summarized that the e-book contains inaccuracies calculated to mislead and completely at odds with court findings. And then he proceeds to highlight a few inaccuracies, I think 5 main ones. And then we've also heard from Sudhir in the press. So yeah, that happened. I know you messaged Sudhir early in the morning.
Yes.
Right. When did you first catch wind of this?
Just reading about it yesterday, because I think, it hasn't been on our minds. Oxley Road hasn't been on our minds for a while already, right? It's largely died down a little bit. So I was quite surprised to read that it was being brought up in Parliament again. I had like the feeling of deja vu. And the crazy thing is that, remember, we were like literally back in the day, speaking of Ministry of Funny Videos, we literally made a video that was about how sick we were of listening about Oxley Road already, right? The whole saga.
No, the thing is, we never made it. We filmed it.
We filmed all the parts. We thought of a storyline. We filmed the parts. But by then, we were literally probably so sick of it, and we felt everyone was so sick of it, we decided we would not release it, right? Correct?
Yeah. So
that's
we
how
went
sick
down
we were of it. Yeah.
We went down there to Recce. We filmed where it wasn't illegal. That's why. Oh my God! Fuck!
Yeah.
Like, we had a full edit, is it?
No. I'm not sure, but we were basically halfway through, and I think by then we were like, you know what? There seems to be a lot of people are really sick of hearing about this already, and even ourselves, like, we put this out. It's like it feels like it's really the tail end of the discussion and all. But, it's not the tail end of the discussion. 3 years later, it still comes back to bite us. Yeah.
More than 3 years. Like, we filmed it when it came up. Yeah, it was way back, like 6, 7 years.
2016.
2017. So, I mean, it broke the news yesterday at like 5-ish, and then it was updated at 10-ish with statements from Sudhir. So, I mean, okay, so just a refresher. Let me try and refresh my own mind based on what I crammed in my head since yesterday about the whole controversy. From what I gather, it is essentially surrounding Lee Kuan Yew's will, surrounding the supposed wish to demolish 38 Oxley Road, which was his residence. And it comes down to Lee Hsien Loong, the acting PM, versus Lee Hsien Yang and Lee Wei Ling, the other two children of Lee Kuan Yew. And I think the way Sudhir encapsulated it was quite good. He said there was a primary wish of Lee Kuan Yew, which was to demolish the house. And then the secondary was that, knowing that it might not be demolished, to only have it be accessed by the family, so grandparents and children. And essentially it came down to Lee Hsien Loong kind of pushing more for the secondary wish, and Lee Hsien Yang and Lee Wei Ling pushing for the first wish, and a whole lot in between. And then there was the panel that was formed in 2015, I believe.
A ministerial committee, right?
Yeah, a ministerial committee headed by Dr. Teo Chee Hean. I think even in 2011, Lee Kuan Yew met with the cabinet to talk about the whether or not it should be demolished and all. And there was a lot of talk about how the public believes that it shouldn't be demolished. And then before Lee Kuan Yew's death, there was something about the will, and the will was put together by Lee Hsien Yang's wife's law firm, right? And there were
the final version.
The final and seventh version, right?
Yeah, the earlier drafts were by Kwa Kim Lee, who was
Lee Kuan Yew's personal lawyer,
Yeah.
Right. So along the way, there was supposedly like a certain demolition clause that was reinserted back in the seventh version, which was about the demolition of Oxley Road, and then the whole court, and then this was brought to the court's attention because there was a case of the Law Society that was filed against Lee Suet Fern, right? About supposed misconduct, in terms of handling the will. And then it was brought to the court of 3 judges. I didn't know there's a thing, but it's the highest court of the land, the court of 3 judges.
Yeah, and it's primarily to judge in cases of lawyers' misconduct, if I'm not wrong.
Oh, I see. Lawyers' misconduct. Okay.
Yeah.
So that case ended with verdicts that were put out. But when Sudhir published his ebook last year, I think it's like 80 pages. It's like a long research paper. He said some things that kind of like, which Teo Chee Hean said were misleading. But essentially it boils down to that. There's like the demolish 38 Oxley Road party and don't demolish and maintain and maybe redevelop party. So And of course, a whole lot of things in between, because since then, Lee Hsien Yang and Lee Wei Ling are not based in Singapore anymore, right? And they're still... Wait, is Lee Hsien Yang... Yeah, he's not based in Singapore, right? He ran in the previous election, lah.
Right. He didn't run. He was just part of the PSP team, but he didn't actually run for any particular constituency. Yeah.
Okay. So that's my understanding. Like, do you have anything else that you understand from the whole kerfuffle?
I mean, yeah, I think she was found guilty by the court of like improper conduct that unbefitting that of someone in the legal profession, right? And I think subsequently also their son, Lee Hsien Yang, right, who is I think based in the US. I think he also got into some legal wrangling, and was I think it was over statements that he had made on Facebook, right? That was viewed as contempt of the judicial system in Singapore, and so I think he was fined in absentia because he refused to come back for the proceedings, and so it's just been a very unpleasant situation all around for the people involved, right? It's a lot of public legal proceedings and squabbles and a lot of wrangling, and we kind of haven't heard much more about it in a couple of years. So this is the big twist again, that now apparently the police are back to want to interview Lee Hsien Yang as they probe into this claim that they lied under oath in the case of in front of the court of 3 judges, right?
Yeah. So that thing also was that case about them lying already in development, because they published the article yesterday also, right?
Which article? Sorry,
the one about Lee Hsien Yang and Lee Suet Fern under police probe for lying under oath about Lee Kuan Yew's will. It was published yesterday.
Yes.
So I mean, it feels like a direct result of what was discussed yesterday, lah.
No. As in, it's ongoing, lah. It was ongoing already. The police already was starting to probe into it, and I think Teo Chee Hean was just bringing it up in Parliament, no? And
the Lee Hsien Yang and Lee Suet Fern didn't participate, right? They didn't show up for the interview or something.
Yeah, initially I think initially they agreed to, and then they asked to change the date, but after that they decided, they emailed saying that they would not participate in the interview, lah.
Yeah, but I just found it weird that the Straits Times published the article yesterday, lah. Kind of reminding us that this investigation is ongoing. Did that strike you as odd?
No, I said I'm not sure that the investigation was a public thing until Teo Chee Hean pointed it out.
Oh.
You know what I mean? As in, someone asked about the ebook, and then as part of the response, Teo Chee Hean indicated that they're actually being investigated right now, lah.
So then there was another question, and I have no idea about the answer. This is purely speculative, but the fact that the question came from a PAP MP to another PAP MP about a potentially contentious issue, all this kind of stuff, like, I'm sure they discuss it, lah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting thing, lah. But I think the question was actually more centered on the verifying details in Sudhir's ebook, right?
Yeah.
That was what the question was about. And, whether there are discussions about will there be someone asking about this, I'm not sure. But it's good it's good that this ebook also has been brought up, right?
Yeah. No, because, I mean, it feels like it was it feels a little too coincidental that one PAP MP asks another PAP MP, and they give this very thought out answer, because it wasn't a question that was brought up in Parliament, right? It was a written question that was submitted before. And then there's the article that highlights, these two people were lying, which, I mean, kind of like reduces the credibility of whatever conclusions are made on their statements in court, right? If that they are being investigated for lying. So it just feels like a little planned out. But of course, I mean,
No, wait, but again, I'm trying to understand so it was in response to the question that Teo Chee Hean brought up this thing about the investigation, lah.
Yeah, correct.
So, but then the newspaper writes an article about it, lah.
No, but the article about the investigation, lah.
Yeah,
because
correct.
it was ongoing. So you're saying that the article by Straits Times about the investigation was because now it's finally in the public.
Yeah, that's my understanding of it. Unless you tell me otherwise in terms of the timeline, because as far as I see, the articles mostly came out yesterday after the parliamentary sitting, lah.
So I mean, but going back to why, if this would be a question that almost like can be a bit polarizing. Like, why would a PAP MP bring it up in court? I mean, in Parliament.
So you're speculating that that maybe they said, oh, there's someone someone needs to ask this question, and then one of the PAP MPs asked it. Okay, I mean, yeah,
it's a speculation. As a speculation,
but I mean, nothing untoward about that, right? It's okay, right? It's like there's something that needs to be discussed.
But does it need to be discussed? Like, what's the deadline that was coming up?
No, so I don't understand what's the... No, you're confused why a PAP MP is asking it?
Yeah, because I mean, it can be something like the topic itself is polarizing, right? You can get people who might question the setup of the ministerial committee. You might get people who would go and read Sudhir's PDF and ebook, which is quite, how you say, it doesn't show the PAP in a good light, right? So why would a PAP MP bring it up in Parliament if this could potentially tarnish even a little bit of the public image of PAP if it wasn't for, someone asks, we kickstart it, and then we respond holistically with like a bunch of info that shows that the ebook is not trustworthy.
Yeah, I guess it's transparency, yo. Like, probably they just... It's something like maybe, someone read it and then they're like, okay, maybe I agree or maybe I disagree with what's written in this book, but I want to find out more. So I talked to someone, more senior within PAP and then they're like, okay, there seems to be these questions and this book brings this up. Let's answer the questions in this book and also give an update of where things are at, right, with this internal investigation.
As opposed to just asking the other MP, don't bring it up in Parliament. Okay, just shut up. Let's just wait for it. Let's sweep it under the carpet.
Yeah. But that also brings up something that I did think about is like if the ebook is something that they felt like what you say, tarnishes the whole investigation or it presents a lot of inaccuracies and everything. Actually bringing it up in Parliament has the Streisand effect, right? Now I think a lot of people might be curious as to what's actually in the ebook, because I think when we spoke to Sudhir when it came out and all, it was like, I think it was like, after a whole year of research that he did, and there are a lot of interesting anecdotes that he talked about on our podcast as well, right? About what he discovered and what he found and what he learned about the political machinery and everything. So this discussion only, I think, brings more attention to the book. So if the purpose was to actually make sure that people don't listen to the book that much or what, then it might have the reverse effect, like the Streisand effect of like, now that they talk about it, people are going to read it, right?
No, exactly.
So
that was
to your point, I think maybe the strategy, really, maybe it wasn't there are different ways to do it, I think, as opposed to bring it up in Parliament.
Yeah, so I mean, this is purely speculative, but I was just thinking, like, it's almost like, like, let's say you're having a dispute with, like, I don't know, your friends or family about this one thing that no one really cares about anymore, and you're like, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna bring it up so I can shut that person down in public. But then the moment you bring it up, then everyone's like, wait, what the fuck? And then they go up and dig it, and like what you said, the Streisand effect. So I was just curious, like, hey, what was the thought process there? Because I mean, it's great for Sudhir, it's great for the ebook, because it's bringing people's consciousness to it, and seeing on Reddit, on Twitter, people are saying they are Googling the ebook now to see it and read it just to see. So it's great.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and I think Sudhir in written response to media inquiries, he stands behind what he wrote lah. He says that it was exhaustively footnoted and everything. Yeah. So now I did read it last year, but I'll probably go and revisit it again just to specifically see. And the best part, Sudhir even pulls out the exact pages that Teo Chee Hean might be referring to. So he gives you like a TLDR response to Teo Chee Hean's statements lah. So it's just bringing back the whole thing to light again. But again, like just going back to your analogy about the guy who brings things out of the family, the other effect also is that whoever brings it out, it makes him look like that a little petty lah, right? You have to admit lah, right? Yeah. It's like, must win the argument. That's why must go in like Google, must bring it up later and everything. It feels a little petty when someone tries to do that at the dinner table. Guys, really move on, we don't need to talk about it, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, true. Maybe that's why it was just weird when I saw it. I'm like, hey, at first I thought the question came from an opposition MP, but it came from PAP. And I was like, okay, interesting.
But on the flip side, if someone is at that dinner and is obviously spewing out fake news and inaccuracies and things like that, and if it's about something of really big importance, like, I don't know, COVID vaccinations and things like that, right? Then maybe it might make sense for whoever's trying to find out the correct information to revisit it again lah, right?
True lah. But then, so just to build on that analogy, like to me, okay, let's say take my wedding dinner last year. If there was someone at one table, speaking to that table and maybe the table next to it, and they're all interested, but generally, the dinner, okay lah, people were moving on lah. Then on my 1 year anniversary, right, I call back all the people and last year I don't like what Terence said at that table. Okay, so I want to clarify that what he said is not true. Everyone will be like, what the fuck did Terence say? yeah,
and then they'll find out, and then they will get different opinions and different accounts, and then they might come to a different conclusion from what you intended.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Then they'll be like, yo, Harish, shut the fuck up. Terence is right. And I'm not saying that only 2 tables of Singapore read Sudhir's PDF last year. Sudhir, if you're listening, I did not say that. But it is an 80-page document, so I can imagine it's not going to appeal to everyone lah. But now, when it is brought up, it just feels like people are going to dig it up. So I hope there's a spike of readers or people wanting to look, because it is very thoroughly researched. I remember reading it last year also, and I was like, whoa, that is academic, man. And I mean, he's very open also about how he did it using publicly available info. Like, according to him, anyone can walk into the court and ask for the documents of that case lah. So
and I think
if you're curious,
he also said that he decided not to interview any of the members of the family directly as well, right? Because he would probably only be able to get access to certain people, and he didn't want it to seem biased because of that.
Yeah. And I mean, if you are curious, the podcast he came on last year was episode 316. And who knows, maybe we might get him in the near future to talk about this little kerfuffle. Maybe. Yeah. But
just going back to what this investigation is going on about, why do you, I mean, even if you just speculate, why do you think Lee Hsien Yang is deciding not to cooperate with the investigation?
Well, I have no idea, man. I mean, okay, from what I read, they were kind of summoned for the investigation lah. And if I recall, what Sudhir asserts is that the court of 3 judges acquitted them of the charges that they were not guilty of, and they penalized them for the charges that they were lah. So Suet Fern has a 15-month ban from practicing, I believe. So so I can imagine but why is the investigation still ongoing lah? I have no idea. That's a very speculative thing. But for you?
I guess it's because it's not, they've not actually been charged or anything yet, right?
Yeah.
It's still an investigation going on. And at this point, I don't think there's any legal thing where they have to go just because they are asked to go for interview with the police.
Yeah.
Because it's about providing evidence, unless they've been charged already, right, then they have to respond. But if they haven't been charged, maybe they're feeling like, okay, I don't want to go to a place where I'm not very sure what the outcome will be. Will I be, shooting myself in the foot by giving more information, or will I not be allowed to have my lawyer there to help me and things like that? Because it's not as clear, right? What stage the investigation is at, So maybe that's the reason. Like only if it's like there's an official charge or something, then they would have to make the appearance. But yeah, I think like what they said, him deciding not to cooperate in investigations also does, make people like us, lay people like us, question, hey, why lah?
Yeah, exactly. But I saw also some rumbling on Twitter of a few people just saying, because Lee Hsien Yang also tweeted in support of his parents and saying, it's a family squabble, but his family happens to be happened to be part of the authoritarian government in Singapore. And then there was at least one response that said, it's a bit hard for me to empathize with you given that your family is so powerful. I'm watching it from afar. I'm a Singaporean based abroad, but I really don't care. So what do you make of that, Terence? Why should we care about this? Why?
Wait, they say it's hard to empathize because
it's like a powerful family squabble. That you just don't air your dirty laundry, lah. I don't see why I have to care about this.
there are a lot of people who are saying that why is time in Parliament? Why is the ministers, so many ministers, like precious time being spent on what essentially, still boils down to a family squabble, right? Even whatever you want to say, like state resources, public services resources and things like that. Why is so much time being spent on it and not on more pressing issues like, bread and butter issues in Singapore and all that? So yeah, I can get where they're coming from. But at the same time, I don't think it's ever nice to be subject to any kind of police probe or anything like that, which is going on for Lee Hsien Yang and his family, right? So it's you can't empathize, but you can't help but just watch what's happening also, right? It's like if you drive past a car accident, everyone slows down a little bit. It's horrible. It's a bad, terrible situation, but you can't help but look, right?
Yeah. I think previously I used to be like, I really don't care. Of course, the issue about the ministerial committee being formed and you're getting some very senior ministers being part of it, right? I think Shanmugam and Teo Chee Hean are both part of it. But I think even without that committee, this thing, I'm finding myself more interested in it because with all this talk of like, the two Singapores, as Pritam put it, or like the wealth inequality, the power inequality, the elitism, it does interest me about how the world operates for different people, and especially for a family that has been so powerful, so influential. There are people going against it from within the own family. I don't think it's just a family struggle. In fact, it's in some way there's just questions of like values or belief systems that ultimately will trickle down given their influence. So I was like, hey, actually this is quite interesting. Interesting.
And don't forget, this year we're celebrating, not say celebrating, but they're commemorating Lee Kuan Yew's 100th birth anniversary. Yeah. So, we talked about this on the podcast. I think there are going to be events, there are going to be tie-ins between the public and private sector to commemorate the occasion. So I think Oxley Road, the whole point of the Oxley Road residence is also delves into the issue of like, how are we remembering Lee Kuan Yew's legacy, right? Do we keep the residence or we demolish it like what he mostly in public was heard saying that he wanted to do, he didn't want a cult of personality to form around him, right? Lee Kuan Yew. He didn't want a cult of personality forming around him and the places that he he lived in or visited or anything. So, it's a, I think it's a larger debate that this Oxley Road thing actually falls into. So maybe there's no choice, but they have to address it head on.
Yeah. And I mean, for anyone who is maybe heard rumblings of it in the past, we'll put a link to download the PDF. We'll put a link to the article that summarizes the 5 things that Teo Chee Hean pointed out, and a link to the Sudhir's post directly addressing those points with page numbers on what pages to look at.
Yeah, that's right.
So I mean, and I think it's great for Sudhir also, because now he started Jom, right, which is his outlet that's meant to do long form investigative journalism. I know last year when he released it, he was like, that's the first piece that is going to kickstart the Jom process. Whereas now people hear of Jom, they're like, oh, this guy and his team who did this, do they do other stuff? And oh shit, there's Jom. So it probably will carry on the next few days also lah.
Yeah, I'm guessing this parliamentary exchange is not brought to you by Jom Media.
It's not. It's not.
Yeah.
But we'll try to get Sudhir on at some point lah. Sudhir TV.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But since we talk about ebook, right? Like it's quite an interesting decision for Sudhir to release it as an ebook that you can download without having to, we don't have to cut down any trees for paper to produce a book for it. There's another big organization that's also finding ways to reduce the cutting down of trees. And that is your beloved Singapore icon.
My beloved Singapore Airlines.
Yes.
Why my beloved, Terence?
I mean,
ex-employer
you used to work there. Yeah,
I used to work there.
Also, as I say, it's your beloved. But it's everyone's beloved. It's all Singaporeans' beloved local or international icon, right? And what is that?
Yeah, correct. So they made an announcement on Thursday, 2nd March, that earlier this week they announced that...
Sorry, you're supposed to say who's they?
Oh, Singapore Airlines.
We haven't even asked. We haven't. My question was like, who is that? And then
for some reason I thought you said Singapore Airlines. No, it's Singapore Airlines. Airlines. Yeah, my first employer, fresh out of graduation, Singapore Airlines.
Yes.
So earlier this week, on Tuesday, they announced a trial of the what they call serviceware in economy class and premium economy class. So if you've ever taken a SIA flight where what you get your food served in, then there's that foil on top, then you peel back and you eat, right? So they announced that plastic, I guess it's reusable, I don't know, serviceware is now going to be replaced with paper serviceware on medium and long haul flights. And then it showed a picture of it. And the reason apparently was because it retains heat and moisture better than the current casserole dish. So it'll be able to serve soupy and gravy-rich main courses on its longer routes. But of course, there was public backlash lah. So now SIA is apparently going to take on board customer feedback after the criticism.
Yeah.
Yes. So where are you on your thoughts about the paperware?
I think I'm not opposed to it because it does seem more environmentally friendly, right? To use paper than plastic. But I'm just a bit curious about whether, because it's almost like they sold it where they said that you're able to hold meals that are more soupy and with more gravy and everything. And that's just in terms of my own experience with like paper packaging, generally anything soupy or gravy, it gets tricky lah. Spillage or like a lot of the grease or just like overflowing, like flowing through the material and everything. So I'm very curious if how they would overcome that problem and if it's really as powerful as they say it is lah.
Yeah, because at first I thought the plastic serviceware is reusable, but it's single-use plastic lah. So just on that like what you're saying, overselling it, because there's also that other school of thought which has been backed by research that when you talk about paper products, as long as if there's a plastic film on it, right, it sometimes can be worse, right? Because the paper cannot be recycled, the plastic cannot be recycled because they're like welded together, lah. So to hold gravy, you kind of need that plastic layering, lah. So like, if they wanted to go down this path, just focus on the environmental sustainability, because there's one thing they did say in a footnote that they want to eliminate single-use plastics. like you also, I'm like, hey, really? I can hold gravy. I would much rather choose a plastic casserole dish than a paper box, lah.
Yeah, and they even say it allows it to retain heat and moisture better than the current casserole dish. I'm like, really, man? You know what they need to do? They need to do like the Pepsi challenge kind of thing. They have to really convince people, like really put them side by side, and then ask people to blind taste test or what.
From 15 years ago, Terence. People listening might not know the Pepsi challenge. What is the Pepsi challenge?
But who is flying SIA Premium Economy? It's people who remember the Pepsi challenge. It's like slightly older demographics buying the tickets and all that, right?
Touche.
So you kind of you need to convince those people with something that they're familiar with, and not just proclamations on social media about how much better this material is, right?
Yeah. So I don't understand the thought process of this, because they say the new serviceware is made of Forest Stewardship Council certified paper and will replace the disposable plastic casserole dish. Apparently, there's no cost savings. It is just to reduce single-use plastics, which is great. But then, but what if it really can retain heat? Dude, now ChatGPT can tell you your life story without even you just key in something. What makes you think there's no technology that can make these sort of paper products actually retain heat?
I think it can. All I'm suggesting is I think they should do some kind of side-by-side comparison or blind taste test and really show that that's literally what people are experiencing in the air. Because you're getting some positive and some negative comments as well. So, I mean, obviously the more clickbaity negative responses will be highlighted by the media, right? But there have also been some people who say that it's good, it's good for environment. My food tasted as good, if not better or anything. And so why the hate, why not just move with the times? It's like the whole thing when straws, I think straws are banned in certain fast food restaurants, and people are like flipping out about how the hell am I gonna drink from my cup if I don't have a straw? And people are like, that's what a cup is supposed to be, right? It's supposed to just drink from the edge of the cup or so, so just move with it, go with the times, yeah.
So even the article, they said the new container has secure lids. This is in contrast to the dish, the dish which has aluminium foil. So they literally say this includes highly popular Singapore local favorites such as mee siam, laksa, and congee, which were previously only available on our regional flights under 3.5 hours. So they want to serve mee siam and laksa in this plastic box. And I agree. I think what you said, you need to show proof. Maybe like fill the box with laksa and dangle it over the CEO's head or something, and say, look, nothing drips out, right? And
we laugh, but then back then when you were working in Scoot and all that, it's conceivable that this kind of marketing would have been done for Scoot, right?
For Scoot, not SIA. For SIA, for Scoot, for Scoot, yeah. So okay, another thing, right? I mean, I worked at SIA, it was my first job, but I gotta be objective, even the ad, right? The video they put on their Facebook page, walao, make it look better, hello. You look at the picture, the way they frame it up, the lighting, hello.
Yeah.
It really
okay.
So then it brings up the other question. SIA is a premium carrier. Now I don't know whether there was ever a time where if you're Singaporean, your default flight is SIA, because it was always expensive, right? But now you're a premium carrier. Is this in line with your branding also? Not just the video, but the look of it, Of course, if it's more environmentally sustainable, sure. If it actually is better to hold the gravy, sure. But Walao, the video they take.
Yeah.
You saw the video, or you saw the photo, right?
Yeah, I did. I've seen the video. Yeah.
You saw the video.
Yeah, it doesn't look very
eh.
appetizing like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. Why?
And yeah, the other thing also
Why?
is, we just spoke about it, right? Like now, big corporations, when they do all these like so-called like environmentally sustainable practices and all, we talked these 2 episodes ago about how Dow Chemical claimed they were going to get shoes recycled into running tracks across Singapore, right? And then later, this Reuters journalist came out and outed that, hey, that was not happening. They literally tracked the shoes and found that they were being dumped into some Indonesian flea market, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think, Singapore Airlines probably just needs to be give more information about how all this is greener and how it works and how it's better, right, than what it was before, because I think people will nowadays be questioned a lot about all these initiatives as well. Like, is it really about saving the environment or just helping cut costs or what, right?
Yeah. Come on, SIA. Wow. The thing on the box also says designed to delight you. Really?
Yeah.
Like, I think because the foil thing it's done at a lot of airlines, right? It's almost like you see foil, you're in an airline. It's part of the experience, lah. This one?
That's right. Yeah, a lot of people are comparing it to. At least there are some comparisons to, rations in the army, right? Like combat rations, and sometimes they serve food in those paper boxes as well, when you go outfield and all. So it's like, it's not, doesn't conjure up the luxury feel when you think about it.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Like, I think the foil thing is because you don't peel off foil to eat anywhere else. So it's almost part of the experience. So, which also I think manages your expectations. Like, subconsciously, if you give me a plastic dish where I have to peel off foil, I already know, okay, the food is going to be okay. It's not going to be like mind-blowing. But you give me a paper box, then all these memories of like, wow, all the nasi lemak you buy, then you open up, then it's like, hey, what, like the, I'm a Pavlovian dog. I've been trained. You ask me to peel off foil, my taste buds already know. You're like, okay, airline food coming. It might be decent, but it's airline food.
Yeah, it's airline
Tell
food.
you. SIA.
Yeah. You see, Haresh still not working at SIA, but still contributing his 2 cents.
No, but aren't you, like, as a carrier, as a Singaporean, like, don't you have a sentimental feeling for Singapore Airlines?
No, I think I've had very good experiences on Singapore Airlines, right? And I do feel that there's always a luxury to flying Singapore Air. And it's kind of sad when you see, this box a bit underwhelming, right? The presentation, the even this marketing and this announcement just feels very underwhelming,
Yeah, man. Some more premium economy also.
Yeah.
Just feels
but
like
that's it. It's still a trial. It's still a trial, right?
Yeah, it's still a trial.
So they might tweak it according to
maybe
what they hear from in this podcast as well.
Maybe this is all part of the plan. We'll show something like this when we have something that's going to blow the fucking socks off people. Like, I don't know, some like made from the pulp of some seaweed kind of thing that actually is carbon negative. You eat it, you save the environment. Can you imagine?
Or even like
so
some self-heating box, that you pour water, then it starts to stuff starts to boil and everything. Wow, that'll be pretty
and
crazy.
It's all carbon negative. Like, even you put your hand, right, your body heat will just like be amplified to heat up the food whenever you want. Come on, SIA, you have a chance.
Then I'll be super impressed. Yep.
Yeah. Then we're like, okay, you won our hearts back, SIA.
Yeah.
Come on. Maybe.
But,
cool, man.
Cool.
Cool.
Let's jump into one Shiok comment of the week. Yes. Do you want to go first?
Shiok comment. I mean, there's definitely an interesting thread, lah. Let me see which.
Yeah. I think you and I both are probably talking about it, or thinking about it, right?
Yeah. So, okay, so then maybe one of us can talk about it, one of us can talk about something that is not part of that thread. Which one you want?
No, we can just address the whole thread entirely, lah. Because I think there's a lot of good comments in there, right?
Yeah, okay, Ken.
Yeah.
You want to start the ball rolling?
I think, like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of very heartened by a lot of comments coming up, on our last podcast where Harish and I had a heated debate about the English test, English proficiency test for new citizens. So literally as of now, like 15 comments, and they're not like one-off, "Oh, you guys suck" kind of comments. They're like really, I think, thought out, and people answered, and some people even telling us that they're, for example, I think there was someone who basically said that I am creating, I'm jumping on Reddit for the first time, creating an account just to answer us, just to leave a comment on this whole thing.
Yeah.
So it is, it's pretty heartening to know that people are feel very heated about that topic and have a lot of opinions about what we're debating as well, right?
Yeah, and also,
and I think specifically that comment from Dong Dong Chiang 121 is that thanks for getting me into signing up for an account, Terrence. Ha ha ha. Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, also because I think we were more heated against each other compared to other podcasts. So some people did say it was a bit harder to listen because I think there were maybe less jokes per minute. But then I will also say that, Terrence, I hope you see the recurring sentiment of the comments about your conduct during the debate, which I will give you the floor now to address.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I wholeheartedly apologize that Harish was offended or felt like the victim in our exchange.
Hey, I never fucking say anything. Don't give me the shit.
I think it was so poetic that that his one Shiok Thing, that episode was about the South Park episode talking about Harry and Meghan, playing victims in the episode.
I did not incite any of the comments, but generally, if you are not on Reddit, a few people were saying, "Hey, Terrence, some of the quotes I felt like Terrence was trying to pick fault with Harish just for the sake of it." And what else? Harish had many good points. And then, let's see. Hi, Terrence. The point of a language test is to ensure the person. So then, what was it?
I mean, all good points, but I don't. I still disagree with some of them, and also I still think even the points that I've raised also have been raised by people in other places as well, right? Like I mentioned at the very start of the podcast, it's one of those discussions that we're going to discuss all day and night, and we might not get anywhere closer to any kind of logical answer about like what is right and what's wrong, because it is very heated. But I did think was Original Goat One brought up a very interesting point also that neither of us brought up the racial dimension in the debate, right?
Yeah.
That there's Original Goat One pointing out that the only big group of new citizens who are not fluent in English would be mainland Chinese. And Pritam, supposedly, according to Original Goat One, he thinks he's channeling the Indian and Malay minorities who are upset by the influx of PRC Chinese. How are you, Harish? What do you think? What do you think of a statement like that?
No, I mean, it did occur to me, as I read this, and even after our podcast, that it's just interesting that in Parliament, it's like Pritam one way, Joe Teo the other way. Our podcast, Harish one way, Terrence the other way. And I do think that race does influence maybe the way you see this test. And I think it's something that cannot just be written off. I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. Because we both shared analogies of like previous generations, right? And for me, my dad he had to learn English because he couldn't get by otherwise. But maybe you come from another race, your experience coming here might be different. And I do think it plays in a bit.
Maybe, yeah. So it was interesting that someone pointed that out, that there is a racial element to it. I think on top of that, I would add on, there is a bit of a international diplomacy angle to it also, Right now, there's a very big, whether it's cultural war or proxy war between, USA and China, for example. So English is obviously seen as a Western construct, right? And everything, and Singapore declaring that, now you must speak English to come here, to be a citizen here, also has that connotation to it, which is something interesting that I only thought about after we discussed as well. But I do, so I do think, I think a lot of people, like, were you very, very hurt by our debate that day? Because like, everyone seems to be jumping to your defense and like say, "Oh, Harish, she's so poor thing. Terrence, you taking, what you taking?"
I do not appreciate the characterization. Okay, because I also was thinking, no, I think every once in a while, I do feel okay. Maybe we could have been a bit more open-minded to each other's opinions. But I also think every once in a while, if we feel strongly about something, then we just see what happens. So I don't look back with any regret at all.
Yeah. The only thing I would say is that I think I was mischaracterized by you as being angry. Because I wasn't at all. Really, really. I wasn't angry at all. It was getting heated. It was like, I think we were like trying to, at some points like, hey, let me make a point, let me finish my point, all that.
Yeah.
But, I was never angry. And I think when you were pointing out, oh, your face like very angry. No, it was really the face of like,
So now you're trying to explain. Now you're trying to explain people's comments. Hey, hello, Terrence, cut the crap, lah. Okay, you don't need to see the face.
No. It's mischaracter. I think I'm saying you mischaracterizing.
I know
me as being angry when it wasn't. I wasn't angry. You're not angry. You weren't angry, right? By it. I know because we talk so much, and we can push each other's buttons a lot when we discuss all these topics, and we know that we get to a point where basically we're just trying to even challenge our own beliefs as well, right?
Correct.
And that's why we can get quite heated about it. But it's not coming from a place of like, oh, I'm so pissed off and I need to go and like kick a cat or anything like that to feel better, right?
But the reason you're saying it is because you want to find a reason to why people were kind of like more sympathetic towards me on Reddit, lah. Or because of your mischaracter.
Harish, so poor thing. Terrence personal attack taking it so personally. It's so hard to listen to these two guys fighting. Terrence, why you like? No, but I'm telling you, it wasn't like, I really was like, okay, let me really try to hear what he's saying.
You're not free of mischaracterizing me also. Your use of like, some people suffer from colonial hangover. I'm like, oh, shut up, okay?
Colonial hangover, okay. That's a joke, right? That's a joke.
Okay,
it comes from me to you, it's a joke. And I say it with that same tone of voice, so courage, why the colonial hangover?
Terrence, let it go, Terrence.
Yeah, you're insinuating a lot of emotion into like what I was like trying to
Terrence, remember the guy at the dinner table that you brought up just now, who's bringing it up and saying like, just now you even made a mocking voice just now. Come on, lah, Terrence. Come on.
Oh yeah. No, I just want to reassure everyone, Harish is okay. He's not too.
See again, you're holding the chip.
He's not very butthurt.
You're holding the chip on your shoulder. Yo, man. Yo.
We even met up later that day, and it was like totally okay and all that.
After the podcast itself, we were laughing about it.
Yeah, we were laughing about it.
So it's all cool.
I've had discussions even with like close friends and family about this thing, and in those discussions, we had differing views about it, but we just talk about it,
Yeah,
and that's the beauty of it, right? You're able to just talk about it and not end up killing each other, right?
Yeah, exactly. So every once in a while, a healthy debate is important, even in your own lives, everyone.
Yes, correct. Yeah. But aren't you glad that it really brought a lot of people out of the woodwork it did. Come and comment about it also, right?
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
And then some people even brought up very good points that maybe I'm just a bit overly affected by my own personal experience of dialects, not being able to speak dialect and all that. And it's a very specific thing. But that's where I agree. That is influenced a lot by our own personal experiences as well. Yeah.
It is.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know whether there's going to be any follow-up in Parliament, because it felt like, do you think it will come up again? Because it felt like the question wasn't really answered, or you think it'll just die a slow death?
I think it needs. I think if Workers' Party is serious about it, they need to really put forth like a real proposal and paper and everything, or something like something of substance that can be debated, analyzed, and really taken. If not, it will end up like how you and I discussed. Also, it will be feel very emotionally charged and feel very like it's really based on your own personal experiences rather than a more objective view of the benefits and logic of everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cool. Yes. Okay. And now for the one Shiok thing.
Yes.
What is your
my one
thing?
Shiok thing, a physical experience that only just recently came up in Singapore. It's that there's now a children's museum in Singapore. And I only bring up because it replaced what was the old, I think, philatelic museum, the stamp museum in Singapore. And now it's meant to be an interactive exhibition for children to better understand, history and geography of Singapore. So I actually got a chance to go last weekend with my kid. I think tickets, you have to reserve tickets online, but they're free. They're free until I think the end of March, and there are time slots and everything. So, and for what it is in Singapore, it's not bad lah. It's a not bad experience, especially for kids, slightly older kids. I think like toddlers and up lah, right? So yeah, do check it out while it's still free and it's still very still quite new and manageable and all. Yeah, because any place that caters to kids, over time everything will start to get destroyed and dog-eared and everything lah. So check it out while it lasts.
So, but after that 1 month, it won't be free anymore, is it? Or it'll just end?
No. It's a permanent fixture. I think they might start charging for it, but I think for these 3 months it's been free, and I think in 1 month they had 20,000 visitors already. So just in case you're a parent who's still looking for stuff for your kid to do, there's this children's museum going on, and I like it because it's a very tactile experience for children, and then you get to see things like traditional Singaporean cakes, Singaporean foods that people eat, and that's where it's also where I pointed out I discovered Eurasian birthday noodles or Eurasian birthday mee as a dish that apparently Eurasians eat. So
birthday noodles.
Yeah.
Oh man.
When I looked at it, it looked like seafood pasta. So I wasn't very sure whether this is really an official thing. So I did send it to one Eurasian friend we have, but apparently I don't know. I'm still not sure whether it's a real thing, but yeah, it's still interesting for it's interesting for an adult to check it out. So imagine how it is for a kid also, yeah.
Interesting. My one is a lot shorter of an experience. It's a TikTok video that I came across from this creator called Unknown Daza. I think he's in the UK or something. So basically, he took a video of how he noticed that there was a frog living on his fence, like just in a cavity on the fence. And he I guess he's an engineer by training or something. And he started building, he built like a 3D kind of rest for the frog, which he kind of like affixed to the fence. And then the frog came back. And then slowly, he was documenting it on TikTok. So slowly it evolved from just a flat surface to like a frog villa, where it went from a surface to like, okay, then there's a hanging ledge. Then he extended it. Then he added some plants. Then he added a pool. Then the frog started bringing other frogs. And it's just fucking hilarious. So now it's like a frog mansion on his fence that he just 3D printed and built gradually.
So it's the algorithm. Funny,
and then
the algorithm frogs.
I think when I was mindlessly scrolling on TikTok, I was like, oh shit. Somehow. And then the frog has a name. It's called Fraud. And then he has friends. And then there's like a civet cat that came also. And then the civet cat's partner, and then they started fucking on the villa, so the frogs left for a while. The cat became pregnant or something. It's just like a whole little community.
Wow.
It's a community. Yeah, so it's it's like 2 minutes like a video.
Or reading.
So while waiting in line at the museum,
if you're reading Studio's ebook, just read the ebook. Yeah. But yes. Man. Awesome.
Yeah, that one a bit hard. Yeah.
Thank you. And enjoy the weather.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Thanks for listening, everybody.